I used to have a lot of problem with the French defense. Like French defense is very solid and like traditional moves like Italian system, Rui Lopez, and other like King's Gambit, Vienna opening, or any other like aggressive things does not work against French defense. So I started looking for some like preparations, some tactics, some counter measures for French defense, and I found a very good measure. Sorry, I found a very good line here. I don't know the name of this line. Maybe it's a Monte Carlo variation. It's something like it's a French defense accepted variation, Monte Carlo variation kind of thing. It's very good, guys. I will tell you like 2 to 3 lines in this variation. If you like it, I will tell you more of these lines. But I liked it. Let me tell you, it's very good thing. It does work very good against French defense. And after watching this whole video, you can also tell me that what's your perspective on this variation. It's very good. Let's just go with this. We have e4, e6, and d4 and d5. This is called the French defense. And the moment we have e5, it will become the French defense advanced variation. And it's actually in the favor of black only. Even if after e5 we are threatening, like we are controlling this knight f6 and restricting knight development, black will not develop his knight to this f6. He will simply just develop the knight to e7 and then later play knight f6, f5, attacking on this weak d4 pawn, which is now attacked by knight to c6, which is then attacked by queen, or maybe like after this g6 bishop. So you understand, French defense advance is not good for us. It's just good for the black. Therefore, I would recommend you to capture the pawn, pawn captures pawn, and then a very good move, a single move that will open multiple opportunities for you guys. It's not knight f3 or not any other knight move. It's very simple pawn move. It's c4. Yes, because after captures we have bishop captures. We can align our queen to b3, attacking on this square and now pressurizing on f7 square. Meanwhile, we have knight as well, castle, bishop development. We have like lots of moves, so this is fine for us. Therefore, black will not capture it. Black will defend this pawn instead. So black plays knight f6, defending this pawn, and then in this we have knight development, attacking this pawn once again. We have bishop b4, pinning this knight to the king, and then we simply play knight to f3. They play castle, we play bishop d3. It's actually on purpose. Bishop d3 is seriously on purpose, and it only because we want to like control this weak h7 square. Moreover, we still want to maintain this attack. Moment we have bishop e2, rook will pin it, and then the pawn is hanging. Therefore, it's very important to play bishop d3 here. So let's say they go for a check. We invited this check on our own, so it's actually bound to happen. We have a rook check. Now we will develop our bishop to this e3, and that's actually good for us. We have knight g4 attacking on the bishop because the bishop is pinned, so we will lose a pawn here, but don't worry. Go for castle, captures, and rook captures the pawn. This is the most played move here, but guys, guess what? It's actually plus 4.2 rating. Why it's showing this? It's because we lost a pawn, right, but we will gain this pawn as well, and now it's a fork on this bishop and this rook. The rook is lost, or either the bishop is lost. The best move is, yes, people play the good move. It's rook captures the bishop, so we have queen captures and bishop moves away. With this whole variation, you will gain full 2 points. You are very ahead because your pieces are quite developed. You have a good center. Meanwhile, your opponent is just underdeveloped. This is the very rare situation you will face in any of the matches, where each and every piece is at the bottom level of his starting square, and then we have something which is controlling the center. Guess what? We are superior here. The engineering is plus 5.5. If we come back to similar position, guys, we have the rook captures the pawn that we discussed. We have bishop captures on knight as well. So after bishop captures knight, we have pawn captures bishop. They think like, okay, now the knight is not present, nothing can happen, so we have rook captures the pawn, but they misses the other knight because we have knight e5 trapping this whole rook. So rook can't move anywhere because each and every square is controlled. We have queen d2, and now the rook is just hanging. Therefore, they might try to attack the bishop instead. They play pawn captures pawn with the bishop, and in this condition you don't have to worry about the bishop because you have far and much more better attacks than defending the bishop. It's queen h5 just threatening a mate in one. Moreover, we have attacks on this side as well. Rook is also supporting our queens. It just checkmate in 2 moves if they capture the bishop, so it's very good for us. So they can play g6, but then we will sacrifice our rook because the moment they capture our queen, we will first go for a check with the bishop, king moves away, and now that is checkmate with the knight. It's kind of a combined mate with our rook and minor pieces. It's fine. So there are multiple variations you can do, guys, in this like whole very scenarios. There are multiple things you can do, like after go for a sacrifice, if your opponent try to just move this and just checkmate in one, so like it's fine, you will win this game. Okay guys, do you remember we discussed rook e8 going for a check on this king, then we developed our bishop. What will happen after you develop your bishop to d3? Your opponent knows what a chess is. Your opponent knows chess is not just attacking the king, but chess is about opening, middle game and end game. And since we are in the opening phase, you do not have to move single piece twice. It's a bad omen. So what if your opponent knows all these stuffs and he deliberately plays pawn captures pawn to make your bishop move twice in the single row, and then goes for this kind of attack, like after rook e8, then we have bishop defense. And now, like, what can your opponent play? We have bishop to g4, pinning this knight to the queen, and also just going on the previous move, it's knight g4. If we have knight g4, that will lead to the same attack. We'll just go for the castle, they capture, and then we have rook captures. And now you can still go for knight to d5 attack, but the more stronger move is bishop sacrifice here. So king captures, and guess what? We have knight to e5 check on this king. So we have king moves away because rook is also like attacking. So we have what? One of the very good advantage of playing queen like pawn c4. We have queen b3 going for a check here. King has only one square to move, and then we have fork. King moves away. Discover check. King moves away. Again a check. King moves away. Again a discover check. King moves away, and then the very great checkmate, you can say. Let's discuss bishop g4 pinning this knight to the queen. In the previous situation, we discussed bishop sacrifice, right? But in this condition, it's a very bad move. It will not benefit you. Because the moment we have king captures, you do not have to play queen b3. Even if you play queen b3 to attack the king and attack the bishop at the same time, kind of a double attack, it will not benefit you, because just a single move that black can play, it's knight d5. Knight d5 is defended by the queen, so you can't take it. Your knight can't take it because it's pinned by the bishop. You can't take the bishop because the knight is defending. So it's basically what? It's an interlocking situation, right? It's an interlocking. So you can't do anything. You just lost a full free bishop. So therefore it's not good condition. What else can you do here? You can play directly queen b3. You don't have to sacrifice right away. You can directly play queen b3 and threatening to attack the rook. That's fine. Let's say they capture, you will capture, and now instead, like apart from attacking on the f7, you are also attacking on the h7. So there are two threats that black has to deal with. So black simply play queen e7, defending this pawn and also threatening, like putting more pressure on the bishop here. You go for knight to e5, just attacking this square thrice, and also you're attacking the bishop as well. Moreover, your attack is very prominent at h7 also. So you have multiple attacks. Your condition is very fine here, and you have very good attacking pattern and attacking chance. You can go for castle, place your rook there, and you have very good thing. Guys, there was a game in which Magnus Carlsen also tried to play this move. It's basically the French defense exchange variation, Monte Carlo variation. I told you about it. Like many people don't play it, many grandmasters don't play it, but Magnus Carlsen, he's the one who played it in some tournament. I guess I don't remember the name. I will tell you in the description maybe. So it's basically the Magnus Carlsen playing with the white, and he chose Monte Carlo variation against the French defense. Let's see how it went. The black played bishop e7 instead of pinning this knight. So therefore we have knight f3 development, castle, and we have bishop d3. Just similar move we discussed. We have pawn takes on c4, making Magnus Carlsen to move his bishop twice in an opening phase. Bishop captures, knight d7 development. We have castle, knight b6, attacking the bishop. So bishop moves away, just controlling this f7 and putting pressure on the f7, maintaining the pressure of the f7. Bishop g4, pinning this knight to the queen. Then we have pawn to h3, hitting on the bishop. Bishop moves back, maintains the pin, and then we have a very bold decision, g4, hitting on the bishop. Bishop g6, bishop moves away. It's basically the same tactic which Paul Murphy used. He used to play knight d2 to knight f1, and then after h3, bishop moves away, he used to play knight g3 to attack the bishop. Bishop moves away, and then he played knight to e5. Usually he plays knight to e5, just controlling multiple square at once and also attacking the bishop also. Meanwhile, his bishop is always placed on this b3 to just pin this pawn, so that the only pawn that can defend the bishop is only h pawn. That would actually open up the like whole file here for the rook. So that's was the main motive, like how Paul Murphy used to play his Italian game. That the same thing, not the same thing, but similar thing. Magnus Carlsen also used it after the g4, the bold move, bishop moves away, and then he played knight to e5, hitting on this bishop. Knight d5, we have pawn f4, marching forward. Knight captures the knight, pawn captures, then we have bishop moves away. Rook attacks the bishop, bishop moves away, and like offering a trade, but Magnus says no, I will not offer, I will not trade. Bishop moves away, pawn up, bishop moves away. Now bishop has went all the way back to the home square, so the chase is now successful. The pawn have marched forward. The attack is very strong here. Engineering gives plus 2.0. This is very good condition for like white to play. We have bishop f4 defending this knight and also attacking somewhere like this. I don't know, but Magnus played this move. So we have bishop like after captures, queen will capture, and then queen will enter into this weak king zone, which does have a weak king side structure. After this maneuver, the pawn is hanging as well. So like you can see the engine rating is plus 5.1. Why like bishop to g5 says engine rating plus 5.1? That's basically because the technical error. So if you guys can find it, it's very good. Meanwhile, the Magnus Carlsen plays queen d2 and that dropped the engine rating back to plus 2.1 or something. But the best move was something else. Can you guys find it? The best move was knight captures on f7, because after c5 it would have been a discover check and knight will under attack. But guess what? It's not only that, because after rook captures knight, we have what? Think about it. It's very amazing. We have bishop captures bishop, hitting on this queen. So queen captures bishop, and then we have rook to this e8, attacking on the king. Rook moves away, and now come c5, going for a check. We are not interested in the knight, we are interested in the king. So king moves away, checkmate in one. Just capture it. So that's how the game will occur if Magnus Carlsen has spotted the right move. The game was basically a blitz match, so maybe Magnus got a hard time to find the right and good move, but still Magnus maybe won the game. It's a very good game, and that's how you can deal with the French defense, guys. Even sometimes Grandmaster uses this attack or this Monte Carlo variation, so you can also, right? So guys, that's all for today. I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe, right?